All right. Hello all and welcome to my new live. It's Anni here and my channel is super channel for all the caffeine quitters. So warmly welcome. Anni täällä, moikka ja tervetuloa mun kanavalle. Eli tämä on tukikanava kaikille kofeiinin lopettajille. Ja tänään tosiaan tämä live tulee sillä tavalla, että mä käännän tämän liven suomeksi, englannista suomeksi, koska mulla on tänään täällä erityisvieras Mandy. So today I have my special guest Mandy with me, and we're gonna give you this reassurance for all the caffeine quitters, which we have been done many times already. But now in this live, I also, because I have some Finnish viewers also, so I want to just translate this live so they can also hear what Mandy is going to say. So, joten tänään mä tosiaan käännän teille kaikille, niin te kuulette mitä Mandyllä on myös sitten sanottavaa. So, warmly welcome Mandy.
Thank you. Hello.
Here we are again.
Here we are again. Nice to be here.
Yes.
This is exciting because I need to learn to practice not over, it's okay sometimes, but just to say things in a short, sweet little sentence or, not as long-winded.
Yes.
But yeah, so that'll be interesting. This will be interesting.
Yes. Mandy sanoo myös kaikille hei, ja tämä on tosiaan vähän niin kuin tämmöinen, oikeastaan me eka live, mikä me tehdään tälleen, että mä käännän, joten älkää huoliko, jos tämä on vähän takkusta aluksi. Mutta aloitetaanpa sillä, että Mandy saat vähän kertoa itsestäsi. So I think we're gonna just start that, Mandy, you can tell about yourself a little bit for those who don't know who you are and how did you end up here in my caffeine quitting channel.
Yeah. I'm having a smoothie, so it's yummy. Yeah, so I found you, I think 2.5 years ago, maybe, after watching some of Kato's videos, or maybe someone shared it in the Quitting Caffeine group. And I was so happy to have found your channel because you were speaking my language. No one was doing that. And even Kato's videos, he was so far healed that they were good for reassurance, but I'm trying to shorten it. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, let's go from here. Okay. Eli Mandy löysi tänne tavallaan 2,5 vuotta sitten, kun se oli etsinyt netistä näitä kofeiinin lopetusvideoita, ja siellä on se yksi mies Kato-videoita on ehkä jotkut, jotka englantia ymmärtää, niin katsonutkin, niin Mandy oli katsonut niitä, niin kuin minäkin olin katsonut. Ja sitten Mandy löysi tämän mun kanavan. So you did find my channel and then...
Yes, and so Kato's videos were good with reassurance, but to have that connection with your videos and that you were 2 months ahead of me, because I'm almost 3.5 years free now, caffeine free and alcohol free. Every mind-altering substance free, but definitely caffeine, because to me that's the gateway drug.
Joo, eli Mandy tosiaan on kans myös vapaa ihan kaikista huumeista. Mandy on 2 kuukautta niin kuin minua takanapäin, eli so you are now almost 3.5 years, melkein 3,5 vuotta ilman kofeiinia, ilman alkoholia, ilman mitään. Ja sitten Mandy sanoi, että tämä mun kanava on ollut siitä hyvä, että tässä mä oon tavallaan niin kuin käynyt tätä koko omaa prosessia läpi ja puhunut näistä paranemisoireista, vierotusoireista, ja sillä tavalla se on ollut niin kuin helppo ehkä samaistua minun kanavaan. I don't know if I translate it right. I say that my channel, like it's easier to relate with my story because I share about these symptoms and stuff. So that's why. Did you mean about that?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So yes.
Exactly. To have somebody that was going through caffeineism for all the years that you were, same as me, to find someone close to my timeline and then someone who was experiencing the same quitting journey.
Niin, että Mandy sanoi, että oli hienoa, että oli joku toinenkin, että voi samaistua, joka oli käynyt läpi näitä samoja vierotusoireita. Ja niin kuin suurin piirtein me jaetaan myös tämä sama aikalinja, ja meidän tarinat on ollut hyvin samankaltaisia, niin se on ollut niin kuin hienoa, että on voinut tavallaan saada sitä tukea sillä lailla, että ei ole yksin tässä, ja on joku toinenkin, joka oikeasti ymmärtää tätä kofeiinismia, koska niin moni ei tätä oikeasti ymmärrä eikä tästä puhu. So yes, caffeineism, it is really true.
Very.
Kofeiinismi, se on todellinen asia, ja vaikka moni ei siitä ole tietoinen, many people are not aware about caffeineism.
I think the most interesting thing is because we start off as kids, or maybe even because our parents, our mothers were drinking caffeine, mostly coffee, probably back then, and we were in the womb. I really do believe. I believe that, because it does go through the placenta, but I believe that we were, if the mother was drinking it, then we were affected, even then.
Niin, ja Mandy just sanoi myös, että me ollaan oltu niin kuin lapsesta asti koukussa kofeiiniin, ja silloin mahdollisesti joku meidän äitit on käyttänyt sitä ennen syntymää, koska kofeiinihan läpäisee istukan, niin me on siellä kofeiiniliemessä lilluttu. We have been marinated there in the caffeine liquid 9 months before our born, ennen syntymää. Niin. So yes, it's a long journey. Tämä on ollut tosiaan pitkä matka molemmille.
And then we start with or not start because we started that way, but the Cokes and the chocolate so young, and we're resilient as kids, our brains are growing, and we're being affected then, but we don't really understand it because we're still functional.
Niin, ja tosiaan me oltiin niin kuin sen kofeiinin vaikutuksen alasena jo lapsena, niin syötiin suklaata ja kokista juotiin, ja meidän aivot silloin vielä kehittyi, että me oltiin ihan varmasti jo tämän huumeen vaikutuksen alasena, mutta silloin me ei tietenkään tietty sitä. We weren't aware back then, of course. Nobody really is when they are kids.
Right. And then we get older and older, and it's affecting us more and more. And then we get to a certain age, it can happen at any time for anyone if they get to a point where the anxiety gets it's basically like the anxiety getting out of control is when we say falling off the mountain.
Ja sitten kun me tavallaan niin kuin tultiin vanhemmaksi, kasvettiin, niin sitten meille alkoi tulla enemmän sitä ahdistusta ja näitä kaikkia pakko-oireita, joita meillä molemmilla on ollut. We both have had this OCD stuff. Joten meillä on molemmilla ollut näitä pakko-oireita, minulla ja Mandyllä, ja meidän tarinat on hyvin samankaltaiset. Ja sitten se on niinku oikeasti sillä lailla alkanut niinku näkymään siinä jokapäiväisessä elämässä. And that is how it started to show in our everyday life when we became teenagers and we started to have these OCD and these anxiety symptoms. And it really did manifest in our daily life in that way.
Yes.
Ja sillä tavalla se näkyy niin kuin oikeasti ihan jokapäiväisessä elämässä, kun oli niitä pakko-oireita ja ahdistusta, mutta silloinkaan ei kumpikaan ollut tietoinen. And back then we weren't aware, both of you and me, we weren't at all.
No, I thought that I had something wrong with me. I hid it. I never told anybody. I tried telling one friend about some of my intrusive thoughts, but it was so hard and weird, and I felt so ashamed. And the OCD, I just thought that was, I didn't know what it was. And then I started drinking at a young age because I was self-medicating. Because when I drank, I didn't, it was freedom. But then the hangover the next day, it was higher, the anxiety.
Eli Mandylläkin oli näitä pakkoajatuksia, eikä hänkään niistä voinut kertoa kenellekään. Ja niin kuin, ne tuntui todella niin kuin hämmästyttäviltä silloin nuorena, ja sitten hän alkoi myöskin juomaan. And what age you started to drinking about?
Well, I used to drink what was called big girl coffee.
Yes.
Not all the time, but my dad would give me big girl coffee, probably 7, 8, little bit of coffee, lots of milk, and lots of sugar, plus Cokes. 4, 5, 6 chocolate milk, before then.
Eli 5-6-vuotiaana Mandy alkoi juomaan näitä kofeiinijuomia. The same age than me. I think 5-6 I was already a lot of in hot chocolate and probably tasting some kind of coffee beverages that you explained. Eli jonkunlaisia kofeiinikokaileja jo silloin juotiin. And like, yeah, it was just like daily consuming pretty much after that. Päivittäistä käyttöä niin kuin oikeastaan sen jälkeen. Jossakin muodossa, some form or another.
Some form. The big girl coffee was like 7-8. Because, my daddy was drinking coffee and to call it big girl coffee, like that was such a treat and so cute and just fun and something that we could bond over.
Amerikassa on semmoinen niin kuin ison tytön kahvi, miksi ne kutsui sitä juomaan. So what did you put there in the big girl coffee?
It was a little coffee, the cream, the milk, and then lots of sugar.
Vähän kahvia ja sitten maitoa ja paljon sokeria. Ja meillä Suomessahan me monet ollaan lapsesta asti juotu semmoista pullamössökahvia, ainakin monet. We in Finland we have been drinking, many of us, that we like dip some kind of donut in the coffee, like when we are kids, or I don't know, a bun, and we dip that, and then we kind of eat it, or cookie or whatever. So that's kind of a treat.
Yeah, so you're getting like the carb, the sugar, the coffee. It's like it all just kind of
all the
goes together. All the shit.
Kaikki myrkyt. But yes.
But then, well, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade and junior high, this is when my caffeineism really started because my mom didn't keep Cokes in the house, but I was able to buy Cokes at school. And he talks about that in Caffeine Blues, how Cokes in the schools are really a thing for making money for the like athletic department.
Joo, siitä
and I was contributing to that.
Joo, siitä 6-7-luokalta sitten se alkoi, että sitten alkoi olla se niin kuin päivittäistä kofeiinin käyttöä ja Coca-Cola. What did you say about Coke? That Coke is really like, what did you say? I forget.
Oh,
about Stephen Chernisk. What did he said about Coke?
Yeah, the writer of Caffeine Blue. He there's a whole chapter in there, a few pages about how Cokes. I have the book. How Cokes were used in schools to, like, they had a kind of like a deal with the Coca-Cola company to like they would give them a certain amount of money if they carried their Coca-Cola products. And this was like in the 80s, I think. If they carried the Coca-Cola products, they would get a certain amount of money for the athletic department, kind of like a grant or like a loan. But it's like, if you put these Coke machines in the schools, we'll forward, we'll upfront the money for your athletic department.
Joo, eli toi Steven Cherniskekin puhuu siitä niin kirjassaan, että noita Coca-Cola-automaatteja on sitten niin kuin pistetty jo sinne kouluihin, että sieltä ne on sitten saanut rahaa siitä, että so the school have been getting the money when they have been putting those Coke machines there, so that they have been money from the Coke, just like sponsoring. Yes. Niin, ne koulut Coca-Cola on niinku antanut sponsoroinut niitä kouluja ja sitten niissä kouluissa on niitä kokisautomaatteja. Mä en tiedä, onko Suomessa vielä kouluissa kokisautomaatteja. I don't know if the Finnish school have those Coke machines, but when I was a kid there wasn't. Silloin kun mä olin lapsi, niin ei ollut vielä kokisautomaatteja, mutta kahvia kyllä myytiin. But they did sell coffee in cafeteria that we could buy. Wow. Or like one of my teacher was selling coffee to kids. Yksi opettaja möi koulussa kahvia.
I'll look for that.
Yeah, don't worry. But
that's not really what's important today. But this is about reassurance. The reason I want to kind of segue in to what I'm talking about is just because I was saturated in caffeine basically, and then always had anxiety, didn't know, got older, fell off the mountain with the extreme anxiety. And it is very, very It doesn't happen to everybody, but it is that is what it is. It is anxiety because of caffeine for me. I think it's stress, but we talk about the caffeine bucket a lot and how the stress just.
Yeah. No, tärkeä juttu kuitenkin ja pointti tässä livessä, mihin me ollaan menossa, koska me halutaan tukea kaikkia tällä vierotusmatkalla, joilla on tämä äärimmäinen ahdistus, niin Mandille myös kävi niin, että sitten lopulta kuitenkin se koska se kofeiinismi vaan niin kuin jatkui ja yltyi, niin sitten lopulta kävi se, että tuli se tavallaan se crash, burnoutti ja sen johdosta nyt ollaan tässä. So after that crash or anxiety burnout, that's why many of us are going through this, what we are going through. Ja sen takia, sen ahdistusburnoutin takia monet meistä on, ja sen stressi, you can also call it stress burnout, but it's because of caffeine, mutta koska se on kofeiinin takia, niin siksi olemme täällä olleet tätä matkaa käymässä. So that's why we are here.
I mean, I can just tell the difference how, especially the older I got, I think when I was younger, I thought it was energy. And the older I got, I could feel it was always the stress, but I think I thought that was energy when I was younger. And then as I got older, I could feel that it was stress, not energy. And I could literally feel the adrenaline, going through, exciting me and making me nervous and making my speech off, and just everything was off. And it was getting worse and worse as I got older. And then boom, 41, a crash.
Sama, että Mandy sanoi, että nuorempana se enemmän tuntui siltä, että se stressi on niinku energiaa, mutta sitten niinku myöhemmällä iällä niinku se tosiaan alkoi niinku huomaamaan, että se on niinku stressiä ja ahdistusta ja niinku vaikuttaa puheeseen ja esiintymiseen. So it did affect both of us how we speak and how we were so shy about showing ourselves up. Niinku se vaikutti itsetuntoon ja siihen, miten voi olla ja esiintyä, mutta silloin nuorempana niinku ehkä sen koki sillä, että se on energiaa. Ja, because when we were young, we just were there it was like a huge energy burst, and it still wasn't manifested as now when we were older. Before we quit, that it really was making us really hugely anxious.
Yeah, very, 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 very.
Eli se ahdistus vaan niinku syveni ja paheni. And also we had the waves and the windows during caffeineism. We weren't all like we said, we were functional addicts. We could function and be even creative in some form or another, but never in our full potential was not there.
Exactly.
Eli kyllähän me monet on sitten, että mä käytän kofeiinia, mä pystyn tekemään sitä tätä. Että me oltiin toiminnallisia addikteja silloinkin, että ei se sitä tarkoittanut, että me oltiin mitään täysiä vihanneksia. Että kyllä me pystyttiin toimimaan, mutta ei varmasti ollut käytössä se koko potentiaali. So we weren't the vegetables completely, but we definitely were functional addicts.
Yeah, and running on that really low octane unleaded poopy gas.
Niin, mä en edes tiedä miten mä ton, I don't know how to translate that, but
shit gas, shit energy.
Niin, paskalla energialla, siis niinku väärällä false energy, niinku ei se ole oikeeta. It's not the real energy. Se on
not optimal.
Niin, ei optimal.
We were functional, and that's what, when you said that in some of your videos, that's what I could really relate to. I was like, yes, I had stuff on caffeine, not because that's who we were. That's not who we were born to be, because a lot of people will say that. That's why I don't like being in some groups sometimes, but we were not hiding under we weren't masking anxiety and depression. It was causing it. We were masking our tiredness. We were masking our exhaustion with caffeine, but we were not masking an anxiety disorder, depression on caffeine. And yes, we had anxiety on it because it was causing it on it, but we were functional. And when you said that in some of your videos, I was like, yes, that's what it was. I was functional. And to now be healing from that, and like you just said, we were always healing. I know I'm talking too much. We were always healing when we were on it around our cycle, for us, around our periods. But because we kept putting caffeine in our system, it was just cycling through our body.
Joo, mä koitan kääntää tämän vähän lyhyesti, että meitä ei ole luotu semmoiseksi, että me ollaan ahdistuneita. Me ei synnytä tänne niin kuin ahdistuneina ja semmoisena, että meillä on näitä kaikkia oireita, vaan ne tulee jostakin, joku aiheuttaa ne. So I did translate that we didn't born like this, that something is the cause of this stuff. So what was the rest part of your point?
And like you said, we were having, even though we were functional, we were having symptoms on it because we were putting the drug in our body. And for women, for us, I believe during our cycle, it was trying to flush it out, but we kept putting it in our body, and it was never really doing the full healing process like it is now.
Niin, ja me ei koskaan pystytty käymään sitä koko paranemisprosessia läpi, koska me koko ajan otettiin jostakin lähteestä sitä kofeiinia, eli meidän keho yritti kyllä aiheuttaa näitä oireita. Meillä oli ahdistusta, pakko-oireita, hermostuneisuutta ja mitä kelläkin. Monilla se voi niin kuin manifestoitua joinakin fyysisinä sairauksina. Mutta meille se manifestoi Mandin kanssa sillä, että meillä oli ahdistusta ja pakko-oireita ja näitä. Ja koko ajan, kun me käytettiin sitä, niin ikinä me ei voitu mennä sitä paranemisprosessia läpi. So I also say that some people it doesn't manifest like it is manifest for us about OCD and anxiety, depression, but some people it can actually manifest the caffeineism, like for example cancer, or for example high blood pressure, or for example some kind of like any other disease, because caffeine is causing hell of a lot of diseases. So
yes. That too, yes. And then he says that in Caffeine Blues about PMS, and that's how we were affected. Like some people, their thyroid, if it affects the endocrine system. I never had a thyroid issue, but my adrenals were affected, which affects the PMS, which causes the PMS. So we're all...
Joo, Steven Cherniske tuosta Caffeine Plus-kirjasta, että jos joku sitä haluaa lukea vaikka Google-kääntää kääntää, niin se kannattaa tehdä. Se on hyvä kirja, niin siinä hän just puhuu tästä ja miten se vaikuttaa vaikka kilpirauhaseen. Ja Mandy myös sanoo siitä, just puhuu, että niin kuin naiset kuukautisten aikaan, niin meillä on se meidän kierron aikana, meidän keho yrittää puhdistaa niitä myrkkyjä ja poistaa kaikkea, mikä ei kuulu olla siellä, niin kuin se poistaa esimerkiksi sitä kudosta, minkä se tekee silloin, ennen kuin kuukautiset alkaa. So our body is trying, for example, during our periods, is trying to get rid of that tissue that it doesn't need anymore. It's very natural. It's a natural process of cleaning process, but what it cannot do, it's when you just keep poisoning yourself, and caffeine is the number one poison of these, all the poisons that we are getting in our in life, but it's definitely the number one poison.
Yeah.
Kofeiinimyrkky numero 1.
And all those years during caffeineism and during my cycle and during PMS, I had throughout the month, I had moments where the anxiety was low, the OCD was low. It was, my spirit was high. Everything seemed to be working, like I seemed to be functioning even better. It was when the PMS time is when everything, I had the irritability and then, you know, the depression and all the other symptoms. And so he talks about it in chapter 6. And
Kuudennessa luvussa. Siinä on niinku kofeiini ja naisten, it's like caffeine and women's health.
Yeah, I've never read the whole book. I have it. My mom gave it to me.
Siinä on... Siinä on siitä, miten siis kofeiini vaikuttaa myös niin kuin naisiin ja miten se voi näkyä niin kuin tässä kuukautiskierrossa, like how it shows in our period cycle, like how the caffeineism shows, kind of like how our period cycle kind of can show that we have the state of caffeineism. If we are anywhere aware of that, we can really have these signs, että niitä merkkejä kyllä tulee.
Yeah, and it's not like, oh, I just found the book and I'm excited about it. No, I've known about it. I mean, we all know about Caffeine Blues, but it raises, I mean, the main thing is because it raises the cortisol and adrenaline. That's the main thing. And then what it does to the adenosine and then the...
Pääasia on se, että se nostaa näitä stressihormoneita ja sitten blokkaa adenosiinia. And like I say in my previous live today, that it affects all the neurotransmitters. että se vaikuttaa kaikkiin välittäjäaineisiin. It's not, of course, it's the dopamine, glutamate, what it's really spike up those, like, what is the word? It's interferes the natural balance, but it affects everything, every single.
Right, and because it raises those, all the other ones are affected too.
Niin, koska se nostaa niitä välittäjäaineita, niin kaikki muut välittäjäaineet on myös vaikutuksen alaisena. Mutta stressihormonien koholla oleminen pitkäaikaisesti on todella haitallista keholle. So if your stress hormones are high all the time, it's very damaging for the long-term use for your body. Of course, it just makes sense.
Yeah. And even though Steven still drinks coffee, because he's addicted. Mm-hmm. And that's what happens to some people. He's just straight up addicted. Oh, he has it in the morning and just a little bit. And I don't care. He's addicted.
Yeah.
But he has the information. So it's just nice to have the information.
Steven Cherniske itsekin juo kupin kahvia päivässä, mutta se kirja on silti tosi hyvä. Ja kaikki, jotka tätä kofeiini-infoa on tuonut niin ihmisille, niin olen todella kiitollinen. We are very thankful for all the information, of course, because no matter what, it's very important thing to share this information.
Yeah. And one interesting thing I found out about cortisol, people might already know this, I just found it out. If you have high cortisol in your body, you get bruises easily. The bruising can come up easily, and alcohol raises cortisol too. And I was always bruising, and it's because I had too much cortisol in my body.
Niin, se mielenkiintoinen juttu, jonka Mandy nyt on kanssa niin kuin saanut selville, että kortisoli, kun se on koholla, niin se aiheuttaa myös mustelmia ja myös alkoholi. Alcohol use also can cause those, so that's really interesting. Mielenkiintoista.
I just don't crave or need or want alcohol anymore since I quit caffeine. That's so huge to me. I know that's the reason why I drank. I know it. I talk about that all the time because that's 25 years of my life.
Ja Mandy sanoi, että kun se on lopettanut kofeiinin, se ei kaipaa alkoholia millään lailla. Ja se oli 25 vuotta sinun elämää. So it was 25 years of your life and you don't miss it any bit now. Niin. So caffeine is a gay drug also. But that's like, but now we are coming to that reassurance part, which I think many of you.
So yeah, I definitely get it. I know that it was caffeine for me because it just was. And now that I'm almost 3.5 years, I see the healing journey. I see it in you, Annie, and this is what happens. We have stayed free and we really do heal.
Joo, että nyt se sitten oikeasti alkaa näkymään yli 3 vuotta, niin hullulta kun tämä kaikki on kuulostanut, niin se on kaikki on ollut kofeiinista, kaikki nämä paranemisoireet, niin paljon kuin täällä on niitä ei-sanojia ja epäilijöitä, niin nyt se alkaa todella näkyä. 3 vuoden jälkeen se alkaa todella näkyä. Ja Mandy sanoi myös, että se alkaa todella nähdä sen minussa, ja minä näen sen myös Mandyssa. I also see it in you, and viewers will see more and more our journey, which I think is very, very brave thing to us and you to share also. So juhu! Niin se on tosi rohkeeta jakaa tätä tarinaa. Ei ole helppoa. Ei se ole helppoa pistää omaa tarinaa ja ollut käynyt tämmöisen hullutuksen läpi. It's not been easy to start sharing because when you are weak and not feeling well and almost dying every day, it's not something that is very easy to share publicly.
Yeah, you're scared and you have doubt.
Niin, sä oot pelokas ja sulla on epäilyjä koko ajan. Eli se on ihan normaalia, että sulla on koko ajan epäilyjä, sun mieli epäilee, onko tämä, miksi mä tunnen näin, miksi mulla on tämmöisiä ajatuksia, miksi mulla koskee tähän, miksi mulla on tätä, miksi mun aivoissa on tämmöisiä tuntemuksia. It's all about the doubt and the googling symptom searching, what is wrong with you.
How long is this going to take? Is
ja kuinka kauan tämä kestää? Onko tämä normaalia? Se on kaikki normaalia. That's all is normal.
That's how it's anxiety. Like anxiety strips you.
Se on ahdistusta. Ahdistus tekee sen.
Anxiety causes the doubt, and anxiety strips you from your rights. It kind of takes away your rights to live the life you want to live.
hyvin
You're living.
Niin, se ahdistus tavallaan ottaa meiltä se oikeuden elää sitä sellaista vapaata elämää, mitä me halutaan elää, koska se niin kuin aiheuttaa sitä epäilyä koko ajan ja niitä ajatuksia ja sitä huolta ja sitä stressiä, ahdistusta, kireyttä. Also irritability and tightness of the chest and fear and worry. Huolta, pelko, it's all. You name it.
Yeah, it strips you from your freedom, but you get it back.
Mutta se vapaus tulee takaisin. It will get back.
Yeah.
So, okay, in this point, I also want to warmly welcome everyone in the chat today, if there is somebody. So now you can ask also whatever questions if you have. Joten jos on mitä tahansa kysymyksiä, niin nyt voi Mandylle kirjoittaa. Voi ihan kirjoittaa suomeksi. Myös mä käännän ne sitten englanniksi. So the Finnish followers can also write that to Finnish, and I then translate it to Mandy if somebody wants to ask something. Eli mitä tahansa, jos on kysymyksiä, niin saa laittaa. Ja aina voi myös näiden videoiden alle myös laittaa jotakin kommenttia. You can also always comment if you watch these later, these lives, so you can comment about these videos and we both can then answer. It's, of course, always possible.
Yeah. Yeah, this is really good because I see how just saying short little bits, it's nice. It's nice because I can tell, I mean, I still do have mild anxiety because we talk about that, the mild, the moderate, the extreme, the panic. And I can tell I still have mild to, but maybe between mild to moderate, but I'm way more functional now and just happier. But I do think the long-windedness is because of anxiety.
Ja Mandy sanoi, että hänellä on silti vielä pikkusen sitä ahdistusta, mitä oli silloin, kun hän käytti kofeiinia, mutta se mitä, että jos ajatellaan, että tässä on ahdistuksessa on 4 tasoa, on se mieto, what is the mild, then is moderate on niin kuin keskitaso, what is the next, then it's
mild, moderate, extreme,
extreme on sitten niinku semmoinen voimakas, ja sitten on se paniikki, mikä on siellä tosi korkealla. Niin jos miettii, että me oltiin siellä 4. tasossa, we were there in the 4th state of anxiety, like what 2.5 years about, on and off, of course, on and off. So let's say that now you are there in the 1. Niin kun, että jos sä oot ollut siellä 4. tason ahdistuksessa ja nyt tippunut sinne 1, niin sehän on jo ihan hurja niin kun, edistymisaskel. So it's a huge step of recovery. Okay, we have one question. Maarit, silloin kun joi kahvia, niin ahdisti, nyt ei läheskään ahdista. Mitä Mandy sanoo tähän? So, okay, Maarit asked that when she did drink coffee, she had anxiety, but now it's not having anxiety so much. What Mandy says about that?
That's great. She didn't fall off the mountain.
Et se on tosi hyvä, että sä et välttämättä ole niinku kokenut sitä burnouttia niin kuin me, että se on hyvä merkki, se on tosi hyvä, eikä se tapahdu kaikille. Et hienoa.
She quit before she was knocked off. She quit before.
Niin, eli sä lopetit ennen kuin sä tavallaan ajauduit semmoiseen burnouttiin tai kriisiin, mitä meille kävi. Se on tosi hieno juttu. Ja se voi olla, että sä selviät paljon vähemmällä. Ja sehän olisi kaikista paras optimaali. And that would be the optimal for everyone, of course, not to fall off the mountain and be able to quit like before ending up of this vicious anxiety.
So kudos to her for quitting before it got really bad. That's
ja
awesome.
Mandy sanoi, että ihan mahtavaa, että olet pystynyt lopettamaan. Se on tosi hienoa. So yippee, and all the other...
Just don't go back. Just don't go back.
Älä mene takaisin. Älä vaan mene takaisin. So yes, and that's also which we always we do remember, and we understand that not every people are not go through these years of process that happens for many of us who do fall off the mountain. But there are also people who are in between. Some people it take months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. So pretty much everyone can have benefits from this information that we are sharing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my age, I was getting close to, I was living my whole life in mild and moderate, and then doing my age, and then doing an extra type of workout, an extreme workout, and not eating enough. That was just causing the bucket to be fuller. And I just, life stressors can get in the way, but I really believe if I didn't have any caffeine in my body, those stressors wouldn't have been as bad. They wanted to push me over. I think caffeine is the common denominator that pushes us over the edge.
Niin, että se kofeiini
Can
on
be.
tavallaan se iso semmoinen, minkä mä sanon, semmoinen klikki, joka sitten työntää alas sieltä vuoren rinteeltä, että se kaikki muu stressi, trauma, kaikki muu, niin kuin totta kai se kerää sitä stressikuormaa, mutta sitten kofeiini on niin kuin iso juttu siinä, että se on monelle vielä se viimeinen niitti, ja se on hermomyrkky, solumyrkky. We know it's a nerve toxin, cell toxin also, and it affects so much unconscious dysphoria and stuff, and everything. So, but for some people, they never fall off the mountain. That's, of course, that is the main point that I wanna give to people, that they didn't have to go through this.
Yeah, sure.
Että toivottavasti
We see it all the time.
Ei tarviskaan mennä siihen ihmisen, että niinku tavallaan päätyy niin sanotusti siihen tilaan, että sitten tapahtuu se niin sanottu burnoutti, täysi totaalinen loppuun palaaminen ja vuosikausien vierotus ja puhdistus. Yeah. Niin,
They're on a drug.
Ihmiset on silti sen vaikutuksen alasena, vaikka sitä pystyisikin käyttämään, että se täytyy silti muistaa. People who can use caffeine and their body still are maybe able to detox that in some point, and they are not falling off the mountain, they are still affected. And I think for those people maybe it's harder to quit, because who knows that we maybe have been still using if we wouldn't have fall off the mountain.
Yeah.
So for us, it was really a gift, kind of. That's how
it was. That's how I look at it. 100%. I mean, I would have had the terrible PMS.
Marit 2 viikkoa, yeah. 2 weeks, Marit is. Yippee.
Yay! Stick with it.
Pysyt vaan siinä. Ja mitä tahansa sitten.
What was her biggest reason for wanting to quit the anxiety?
Mikä oli sulle, Maarit, niin kuin sun isoin syy lopettaa kofeiini? Kofeiinin käyttö, oliko se niin kuin ahdistus? Mandy kysyy.
So she had mild to moderate anxiety, or he or she, sorry. She had mild to moderate maybe?
Oliko sun ahdistus, niin kuin, silloin kun käytit kofeiinia, niin oliko se enemmän semmoista mietoa tai keskitasoa, vai oliko sulla niin kuin ihan tosi vaikeita ahdistusta? Jos haluat jakaa, ei ole pakko jakaa. If want to share, like I always say that.
Yeah. Totally.
But what about Americans? Are you still with us? Like, where are you long-term quitters? I know you are there. I know you are. I know you follow my channel, but you never show up. So sometimes just came to say hi if you are still on the train.
That would be cool. Say hello. But one thing I want to say about the mild, moderate, and extreme, and panic, and just anxiety in general.
Joo. Eli mä sanon vielä.
We're supposed to have.
Eli Marit sanoo, että burnout. Marit says the burnout. She did have the burnout. Joten se oli voimakas. It was heavy. And Christopher is here. 20 months. Okay, so now you can say, Mandy, what you were saying. I translate.
Yeah, because people will say, well, we're supposed to have, that's awesome. 20 months is a good, that's good.
Yeah. Marit says panic attacks. Paniikkiko.
Oh, yeah. Kyllä. Scary.
Se on
pelottavaa.
Kofeiini tekee sitä.
I mean, other things can cause panic attacks, right? But
muutkin asiat voi aiheuttaa paniikkikohtauksia, mutta kofeiinismi on iso aiheuttaja.
Caffeine is like 95% causing people panic
95% kofeiini aiheuttaa paniikkikohtauksia.
Or something like that. I shouldn't say percentages.
Like that. Okay, something like, we shouldn't say. Jotakin semmoista. Niin, noin. No niin. Okay, so.
but about anxiety in general, that we're born with it. You know, it's natural to have a natural state of anxiety for survival. You know, because people say anxiety is natural. When we talk about just because earlier I said anxiety and depression we're not born with it, but that
Okei, eli siis mä haluan vielä selventää, että silloin kun me sanottiin, että me ei synnytä, kukaan ei synnyttä ahdistuksen kanssa, mutta totta kai semmoinen niin kuin selviytymismekanismi tyyppinen ahdistus, totta kai meillä on sitä, eli silloin kun joku stressitekijä tulee, niin kuin joku vaara tai trauma tai joku, niin totta kai meillä on silloin, niin kuin me reagoidaan siihen kaikki eri tavalla, se voi aiheuttaa ahdistusta. Muitakin oireita. Ei me sanota, että pelkästään kofeiini, mutta niin kuin kofeiini on hyvin iso tekijä. So we don't ever say that just caffeine, like there is no other, like no traumas, no stress, but we always say that is just very big cause of the reason that is causing those
Thank you.
stuff.
Beautiful. Yeah, and to be born with it is a survival thing in us to have anxiety. It keeps us safe. It keeps us to say, oh, I shouldn't, do this certain thing. It keeps us safe. You probably, I know you know what I mean. You could probably...
Ahdistus, se pitää niin kuin tavallaan meitä turvassa, että totta kai niin kuin se tietynlainen on tarpeellista. Some amount of anxiety is necessary for our survival. Of course, we know that. Me tiedetään se, mutta sitten the chronic state, krooninen tila, se aiheuttaa sen loppuun palaamisen. That's when you end up the burnout. And what it is for everyone, mikä se on kaikilla, that is like throwing a dice. You can throw the dice, for that person, she can handle 5 cups a day, maybe 10, 20, 30, 40 years. But we know some of people that couldn't handle that 1 cup of a day for a certain amount of time. And you know what I'm speaking about.
When we live in a state of mild to moderate and not just have it when we're chased by something or when something happens randomly for our protection, it's constant. That's when it gets the chronic. That's when anytime in mild, moderate, it's just so interesting. I see it. I just see it in my head. I just see like normal, can't do it on the, I see like normal anxiety. I'm backwards. As like that protection, and then I see the levels of 1, 2, 3, and 4 as like not normal, and so I just see it. I see this anxiety because we talk about anxiety, and it's like, no, if we see it over here in that protection state, that's it's not scary, but it gets scary when it gets out of control because our body gets stuck in that fight or flight.
Niin, eli tavallaan silloin kun se ahdistus on sitä mietoa, eli se on sitä niin kuin normaalia ahdistusta sieltä selviytymisen näkökulmasta, että kun joku stressitekijä tulee, niin meidän hermosto ylivirittyy ja ollaan valmis taistelemaan ja pakenee ja sitten se rauhoittuu. So we are able to calm the nervous system when we have normal amount of stress or trauma. Maybe trauma is not good in this specific topic, but anything, our nervous system is very good state and fully able to calm down itself. But then when the anxiety comes chronic, we are not able to calm down anymore. The HPA axis just doesn't work. The stress, controlling mechanism doesn't work. So it can be that we just need more and more and more of that, like something to trigger to get us to like move or react. Ja sitten me tarvitaan vaan enemmän ja enemmän sitä huumetta tai jotakin, kun se meidän stressipalautumisjärjestelmä ei enää toimi, niin se on se, milloin siis siitä asiasta tulee oikeasti iso ongelma, kun se ahdistus on niin kuin sitä 4. tasoa. I don't know if I did translate it right, but probably people would understand.
It's interesting that our body, when we get to that high, when we fall off the mountain, it is our body saying no more. It's that crash, that burnout is not like, oh, we're broken now. That's the body's way of saying, I'm going to heal you. I'm going to make you slow down. I'm going to, you don't crave the caffeine anymore. You don't crave the alcohol. You don't crave all the things. You're scared. You're so scared. You want to stay home and protect yourself. It's all designed for a reason. We're not broken.
Beautiful.
It's the healing. It's time to heal.
Yes, eli silloin kun me päädytään siihen burnouttiin, se ei ole itsessään, niin kuin se ei tarkoita, että me ollaan rikki, me ollaan nyt särkyneitä, me kuollaan pois. Ei se tarkoita sitä, vaan se tarkoittaa itse asiassa sun keho kertoo sulle, että nyt sä lopetat sen, nyt sä paranet, sä et voi enää mennä siihen huumeeseen. Tämä on se merkki keholle, eli nyt sä joudut olemaan ehkä mahdollisesti niin kuin moni meistä kotona, sä et pysty lähteä mihinkään, sä et pysty tekemään mitään. Se on se aika, jonka sun keho ottaa, että se paranee, ja silloin sun on hyvä kuunnella sitä ja ei stressata itseäsi liikaa tai lisää, jos sä pystyt siihen. So then it's really important when you listen to that sign that your body was giving you, so you don't add any extra stress. And even if you cannot leave the house, or you cannot shower, or whatever you cannot do, you cannot watch TV, whatever we have, if we have that for state of anxiety, it's something that we should really try to respect as hard as it is in that state. I know it's hard. But so very beautifully said. Okay, Christopher, I've been craving chocolate a lot lately. My favorite topic, chocolate. I'm the chocolate police always. People hate me. I just want to eat my chocolate. No, you cannot do that. Okay. Eli suklaa myös myrkkää, niin kuin, että minä olen se inhottava suklaapoliisi, mutta suklaassa myös on kofeiinia. Sen takia se suklaa on monelle meistä haastava. Siksi, koska minä olin suklaa-addikti henkeen ja vereen, mä näen vieläkin unia suklaan syömisestä, niin haluan vaan tuoda senkin pointin esille, että suklaa sisältää kofeiinia, ja joillekin meistä se oli se ensimmäinen asia, mistä kofeiinismi alkoi. So some of us, the chocolate really was the root start of this caffeineism when once we were a child. So that's why chocolate police. You can have other stuff. Why the chocolate? Like people... Chocolate because there's caffeine. Why don't you want to eat ice cream? Why the chocolate? Why?
Yeah, why not a blueberry smoothie with protein? It's like, Christopher, that is just so normal, especially at 20 months. Like you're starting to do better a little bit, and then the brain's like, let's just start, not a big cup of coffee, but just a little chocolate, and it's rich and creamy, and it's got caffeine. Yeah, like why don't you want why are you craving chocolate and not something else? It's because the brain knows, it has caffeine in it. It knows.
Ja Maaritille, et ole rikki. Maarit says that feels that she's broken. Mutta et ole. Sinun keho paranee. Se osaa tehdä sen. The body knows how to. Yes, it's hard because chocolate is everywhere.
Mm-hmm. And I see that. Okay, Christopher, I totally see that. And Maria, you're not broken. It feels like it, but you're not.
Niin, et ole Rikki Mändikin sanoo, että tiedä se, et ole.
And Christopher, okay, like you're seeing it this is just how I see it. Like, because just hearing you say that, or seeing you say that, reading that, it's everywhere because your brain wants it. Like to me, it's not everywhere, like, I go to the store and then there's chocolate when you're checking out here in the States, like there's just chocolate aisle everywhere. And I just look at it as poison, but then I also see it for somebody who's craving it. Like it's right in your face, but to me, it's not everywhere. But the way I see it, you're seeing it that it's everywhere because your brain wants it right now.
Niin, tiedättekö, miksi te näette sitä suklaata joka paikassa, jos on joku siellä, että no niin, mutta on niin vaikea, kun suklaata on joka paikassa, koska aivot haluaa sitä suklaata, ne tietää, että siellä on sitä kofeiinia. Nyt kun me ollaan oltu niin kauan ilman kofeiinia, niin meillä ei ole enää mitään halua suklaaseen, mutta aikaisemmin siellä mun addiktioaivoissa, niin siellä oli se, koska mä näin niitä suklaaunia ja kaakaunia, no okei, nyt on jouluaika. Niin suklaata on kaupat täynnä. Nyt mä voin, en mä enää ajattele sitä, mutta aikaisemmin se oli se, mihin mun huomio kiinnittyi. So now it's the time of Christmas, so all the stores are, the chocolate is really there, it's there front of your eyes. So before, I said that before Christmas time when I was going to the grocery store, I was always like, what is my Christmas calendar? I want that one, I want that one, I want that chocolate calendar. Now I'm just like watching like, I don't even I just know. But yeah, I got the point. It is hard still.
Yeah, I get it, but it's like water's everywhere. Meat, you go to the store, meat's everywhere. But like if your brain's craving caffeine, then you see that chocolate's everywhere when,
Ja Tuula tuli, moi Tuula. Tuula sanoo, itse olin 17 viittavalle anorektikko, en ymmärtänyt Se johtuu osaltaan kofeiinista. Tula says she was 17 years, almost like anorectic, but didn't know at the time that was like part of because of the caffeine. Yes, kyllä.
Yeah. Wow.
Se kofeiini on kyllä, se aiheuttaa niin paljon kaikkea. Caffeine is causing so much.
See, and that's how she was affected by it.
Ja
we're all affected. So that's when we say we're affected differently. Like some people don't like that, but it's true. Like it really does. And maybe it is some type of like past childhood traumas or something that makes us all kind of, it's like the drug sneaks in and goes wherever it wants to attack whatever, it's different like that in that way, but it's still affecting us all in a negative way somehow.
Eli sitä tavallaan, että kun ihmiset aina väittää, tai tykkää siitä, kun puhutaan, että se vaikuttaa kaikkiin jollain tavalla, niin siinä se just on, että se vaikuttaa vähän niin kuin eri tavoilla joihinkin. Ja sitten mä en just sano, että se on vähän niin kuin, että siellä tulee ne kaikki meidän lapsuuden traumat ja muut, että se kofeiini tavallaan, kun se menee siellä elimistössä, niin se sitten tavallaan osaltaan on triggeröimässä sitten, miten mä sanoisin, sitä miten me käyttäydytään tai miten se kullakin yksilöllä sitten näkyy niin kuin tavallaan siinä oirehtimisessa ja päivittäisessä elämässä. So it kind of manifest and shows up different way in each person and depending our genetic material and whatever and our traumas and everything, but it's really still manifest in some way. We also, I think we can share, because we always share without names, that there are some people, like we have spoken about, that have gone through this 3-year, 4-year journey, and they didn't really have symptoms while they were caffeine. Or they didn't kind of know, but there are people also like that.
Right. But maybe it was affecting them in another way that wasn't. Yeah, it's kind of like the intrusive thoughts. They're always different for everyone. Like whatever's kind of important to you as a person, whatever you have personally in your life, it's going to trigger or attack that specific thing, but it's still intrusive thoughts are what we're dealing with. But you'll always kind of see everyone's intrusive thoughts, or like I'll be terrified or worried or scared of something that someone else thinks, oh, that's ridiculous, that's silly. But then they tell theirs and I'm like, oh, that's silly. But to the individual, it's so serious. But it's just the way that it's attacking you. It's not really attacking you, but it's what feels so real at the moment, but it's really not. It's just part of the anxiety trying to mess with you. It's like I said earlier, it is I know I'm talking too much. I don't even know.
Don't worry. On paljon semmoisia ihmisiä, jotka on käyttänyt pitkään kofeiinia, niillä ei välttämättä ole niin kuin sinänsä tällaisia niin huomiota herättäviä juttuja, niin kuin ei ole välttämättä voimakasta ahdistusta tai pakko-oireita, paniikkia tai mitään, mutta se niin kuin manifestoituu jokaisella ihmisellä vähän eri lailla, että mikä ikinä sen elämän niin kuin tilanteessa, sen ihmisen elämäntilanteessa aiheuttaa tai on niitä stressitekijöitä, niin se varmasti niin kuin boostaa sitä. Ja sillä tavalla se niin kuin yksilöllisesti tavallaan voi niin kuin tuntua, että jos mä jaan, niin kuin, että minkälaisia pakkoajatuksia mulla on vaikka ollut tai ahdistusta, niin se ei jonkun toisen näkökulmasta, niin sä ajattelet, että no eihän toi ole mitään, mutta sitten sillä voi olla ne omat. So that is individual, like that, like you said, my anxiety for someone else, they think, oh, that's nothing, like why do you worry about that? That's crazy. But with me, it's like debilitating. It's something that's really affecting. Kaikilla eri lailla vaikuttaa sitten.
Yeah, the anxiety, what I said earlier, it strips you from your freedom, whatever your individual freedom is. And if it strips you, then it's going to lie and, it tries to take over. But we really do. The best thing, we haven't even really been talking about the benefits. The best thing is all that fades and then you become strong. You become strong. The anxiety starts to become weak. So like that's where we're at now. Like our anxiety is weaker, even if we have a little bit of it.
Ja nyt tullaan sitten siihen parhaaseen asiaan. Eli mikä on se paras asia, että sitten kun sä paranet, niin se ahdistus on hyvin heikko ja susta tulee vanhempi. Ja sekin, että vaikka sulla on elämässä stressitekijöitä, niin eihän me voida niitä välttää. Kaikillahan on jotakin, aina tulee jotain stressiä, työstressiä, ihmissuuden stressiä, mitä tahansa. Niin se on erilaista. Sä et enää, sä koet sen ihan eri lailla. Ne asiat, mitkä sua ennen häiritsi, kun sä olit kofeiinismin tilalla, niin ei välttis häirittekään sua enää. So those things that used to were bothering you so much when you were state of caffeineism, they don't bother you anymore. So you become very much confident and more stronger in very different way that you didn't maybe even thought about when you were in caffeineism.
Yeah, it's like you have control of your happiness. You can say, no, I don't. It's almost like you can just go, nope. It's almost like you can shut it off the stronger you get and just say, nope, I only want to think about this. And then that even goes away. I think it even gets better from there. But we're still learning as we go. It's just so much better. It's amazing. It's just...
Se on niin, me opitaan matkalla ja Juhani terve kans. Ja Juhani sanoi, että on käsittämätöntä, että vuonna 2023 ei tiedetä kofeiinivaaroista ja ne kielletään julkisessa terveydenhuollossa. Ihan käsittämätöntä. Yes, so Juhani says that it's very like how can we understand that year 2023 our society doesn't know about the dangers of caffeine and they are like they don't put that in the like our healthcare. They don't do anything about that's just so like stupid. Like I don't know the word, but that's just so like how that can be. Like that's so true. How that can be like. Miten se
unfair,
voi olla.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, unfair. Niin, se on epäreilua ja epätodellista.
That's why when we quit and we go through this, we demonize caffeine for so long. But I hear from people who are recovered, you just don't worry about it anymore. Like we want to talk about caffeine and how awful it is right now, and tell everybody, save everybody from it. But I hear when we're recovered, we just worry about, how beautiful, how wonderful everything is. We don't worry about how wonderful it is.
Mandy sanoi se, että silloin kun me addiktit, kun me parannutaan, niin me ollaan me ollaan se kaikki on se ärsyttää meitä ja totta kai se on iso asia, sehän on ihan käsittämätön asia, mutta se enemmän triggeröi meitä, mutta sitten kun me ollaan parannuttu siitä addiktiosta, niin se ei enää häirittekään meitä sillä tavalla ja tämä on positiivista vahvistusta kaikille, jotka tätä matkaa käy, että siinä kohtaa, kun sä itse parannat ja vapaudut siitä ahdistuksesta, niin se ei enää niin vaivaa sua, se asia. So, yes, ja Tuula
The info is here. It really is. There is info.
Caffeine Plus-kirja tosiaan kannattaa katsoa. Siinä on tosi paljon infoa.
It's just not in the media.
Se ei ole tosiaan mediassa. Se on todella harmi, mutta tuossa kirjassa on. Ja tietenkin suomalaiset tietää Kari Luodon jutut. And the Finnish people, I of course always. And I have been sharing the everyone those Kari's blogs in my videos. He's a Finnish man who speaks about this. So Tuula also said, I did weight 47 kilos, coffee and chocolate I could be without eating. Niin, se on.
What is that?
Like she said that she did weight 37 kilos, like that's very thin, and when she was having coffee and chocolate, she could be without eating. Like when you are anorectic, you can just eat coffee and chocolate, and you don't eat, kind of like. Yeah. Yes.
I could go all day without eating, all day, but then I would eat a lot at night. I would binge eat and eat a lot at night. So I was kind of starving myself during the day and then stuffing my belly at nighttime. Not good.
And Juhani said that coffee takes feeling of hunger away. Niin, se tekee sitä, kahvi vie nälän tunnetta pois ja se aiheuttaa varmasti sitä syömishäiriöä monellekin tietämätöntä sitä mitä se sanotaan, binge eatingia, että sä syöt tai et syö, tai sitten sä syöt ja oksennat myös, because the bulimia also, I think that can be also, the caffeine can affect about bullying?
Yeah, because it can take the hunger away and numb you, but yet it also raises the cortisol. So then you're not eating a lot, or maybe you are, maybe you aren't, but that's why you get that cortisol belly and the cortisol hips because, yeah, you don't want to. A lot of people think like there's misinformation that caffeine will help you lose weight. And yes, it can because it can make you not want to eat, but yet the high cortisol can cause the belly and the hips.
Korkea kortisoli myös aiheuttaa sitä kortisolmahaa ja kortisolreisiä. Ja niin kuin monella meistä tässä vierotuksessa myös niin kuin itselläkin niin oli niin kuin, että mahaan kertyi sitä rasvaa ja no ehkä jonkun verran reisiin. Ja se on tosiaan myös normaalia, jos niin käy, myöskin se on normaalia, että laihtuu. Mutta se on tosiaan osa sitä paranemista. I also say that many of us, we have this cortisol belly and cortisol hips during this process, and that's also completely normal. Even we of course don't like that, but if you didn't have like that before, eli jos sulla ei esimerkiksi ollut ennen tämmöistä, niin kuin ei mullakaan ollut mitään ongelmaa painon kanssa tai mitään, I didn't have this before, but now I did have, and it did settle down when the anxiety went away. Ja sitten kun se ahdistus niin kuin rauhoittui niin, ja se kortisolin tuotanto So when the production of the cortisol kind of balance out, of course the cortisol belly, cortisol hips are gonna go away. Yes. And of course you should still eat healthy and like do your normal stuff. But let's say that you were normal and everything was normal. You were never normal, but you were like a normal weight. Eli jos aikaisemmin olit normaalipainoinen ja pystyit urheilemaan and you were able to exercise and now maybe in this journey you couldn't, so that's very normal in this process, and that's all gonna go away when the anxiety levels go back to normal.
Yeah, let's say that
kaikki normalisoituu.
Cortisol belly, I've been curious about.
Joo, Kristoferillakin on ollut kortisol.
Because of the anxiety.
Yep.
I'll just say,
cortisol.
I'll share a little, because some people, like you were saying, some people aren't affected by the anxiety while they're on caffeine, but they could be being affected by something else. Mm-hmm. We were affected anxiety-wise on it, and then we quit, and then our anxiety went from a 1 to 2 to a 4. So some people might not have the anxiety when they're on it, and then they quit, and they get the anxiety, it goes up, and then they get the cortisol belly because of that. And so that's why, because of the anxiety can go, your body might go, oh my God, it's in shock, it's in stress mode because you quit. Exactly. But it wasn't really in stress mode when you were on it, even if you had other symptoms because of it.
Niin, eli sitten miksi ei sitten joillakin ollut vaikka sitä kortisolmahaa silloin, kun käytti kofeiinia, ja siinä tulee just ne ahdistuksen eri tasot, että se ahdistus saattoi olla vaikka silloin niin kuin miedompi, niin kuin itselläkin se oli silti miedompi kuin tällä vierotusmatkalla, että mun keho jotenkin sitten pystyi kuitenkin palautumaan treeneistä vielä jotenkin, ja mä pystyin niin kuin toimimaan ja näin, mutta sitten kun mä niin sanotusti putosin vuorelta, koin tämän burnoutin, niin sitten se ahdistuksen taso meni sinne ihan tappiin, ja sitä kautta se keho puski sitä kortisolia, mä olin niin siinä ahdistustilassa, niin totta kai siinä sitten keho alkaa sitten varastoimaan sitä rasvaa, koska se on siinä hätätilassa. And when the body is there in the state of fight or flight, it's very wise, it starts to like put the fat, it restores the fat, because that's what the body is thinking, that oh my God, now we have this huge danger all the time, every single day, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just like, and that's also why your blood sugar is going haywire in this, ja sen takia verensokeri myös sitten heittelee, and that's why also then you have the inflammation feeling in the brain, like many people who go through this caffeine post-acute withdrawal or withdrawal journey, we have a lot of brain fog and dizziness. So there is that like inflammation that is happening in our brain, and that's why also we feel, and of course because we were years not having enough oxygen in the brain, because caffeine does that, it restricts our blood vessels, they are not open so the blood can flow, and they say 30%, but it's actually, I think it's more that what it does. So. Kofeiini estää sitä verenvirtausta aivoihin, aivot ei saa happea ja muutenkin, että siinä on there is so many issues that are going back in the balance in this journey.
I just want to say to Christopher real quick about the chocolate. Just don't give in, and that craving for chocolate will go away. I believe will go away.
Et ei kannata mennä suklaaseen Christopherinkaan tai kenenkään, että ne mieliteot, ne loppuu ihan varmasti. Mielitekohan on se merkki, että silti vielä kaipaa sitä huumetta. The craving is also the sign that there is still part of the addiction, like, but with this drug, I think it's a slippery slope with chocolate. Just that's how I feel.
Totally. Oof, I don't even want to know. And I just, it's sugar with it and
ja sokkeriahan siinä myös on, mutta ei kannata.
I'll start with chocolate, and if I were to, not that I am, but if I were to start with a little chocolate, I'd be on probably at Starbucks a week later.
And when Christmas comes and all the other people in your family, or maybe they eat chocolate or that you're gonna be the only one, but I say when you are healed, you don't even miss it. That doesn't bother you. That's the last thing that bothers you then.
Yeah, you start to feel so good and natural. You're like, it doesn't even, you don't.
Juhani kysyy, mitä luulette tai tiedättekö aiheuttaa kofeiinin pitkäaikaiskäyttö Parkinsonin tai Alzheimerin tautia? So Juhani asks like what we think about, or do we know about that? Does long-term caffeine use cause Parkinson disease or Alzheimer disease? Well, I think so. Kyllä, molemmat uskotaan, että todellakin aiheuttaa. Ja ihan varmasti. I think also the dehydration, years of dehydration is one part that affects your brain, niin kuin vuosien se alinesteytetty tila, ja se sun aivot ei saa happea, kofeiini tappaa aivosoluja, caffeine kills the brain cells. For sure it's gonna, like for me it's like, I'm not a doctor, I'm not anything, me ei ole lääkäreitä eikä mitään, mutta ei siinä tarvii mikään lääkäri olla. You don't have to be the doctor to maybe get the hint about.
It just makes so much sense. People are saying, and then like in recovery, like adrenal recovery places and anxiety recovery places, like it'll be like, oh yeah, stay hydrated, get good sleep, get good nutrients. And it's like they're not really saying, I mean, they'll say cut down on your caffeine or quit caffeine, but they're not saying, okay, if you're on caffeine, you're going to be dehydrated. If you're on caffeine, you're not going to get good sleep. If you're on caffeine, it's going to mess up your digestion. It's going to cause, so it's so funny that all these things that people are saying to do and not to do, caffeine is always, it's underneath the caffeine umbrella of the domino effect.
Se on aina, että kaikkia näitä asioita sanotaan, mitkä vaikuttaa hyvinvointiin, että kun sun pitää nukkua paremmin ja sun pitää stressata vähemmän ja sun pitää tehdä sitä tätä, mutta sitten kofeiini aiheuttaa se, että sä et pysty nukkumaan hyvin. Se aiheuttaa sulle jatkuvan stressitilan, niin kuin, että sitä asiaa ei niin kuin täysin tuoda ihmisille, niin kuin se kuuluisi meidän mielestä tuoda. Että niin kuin sitä sivuutellaan ja kierrellään. So they turn around the cut to caffeine, you cut to caffeine and anxiety will go out. No, it's not just a cut to caffeine. You can really discover something more bigger when you just put it all away, and then your body will heal. Not just like cut it.
Yeah, I think they're afraid. I think they don't want to piss people off, or they're like, people, if they tell people, yep, completely cut your caffeine, all those clients of theirs are just going to be like, what are you talking about?
Kuka ei halua sanoa sitä, koska sitten kaikki ärsyyntyy, ihmiset ärsyyntyy, että eihän tää ole kivaa työtä. This is not the fun work to do. Everybody's favorite drug, Christmas time, and you say bad things about chocolate, jouluaika, ja täällä joku saarnaa suklaasta. But like people, peace out, because people who doesn't like need this information, they are not watching this. Niin kuin ihmiset, jotka ei tee tällä tiedolla mitään, niin eipä ne sitten näitä katsokaan.
Exactly. About what Christopher said, I can totally relate to that. If I was running late, of course I was running late because I was just so on caffeine, and then I wanted the high adrenaline boost from it, and then I'd get stressed out in traffic. Now, but it's all, again, under the caffeine umbrella. I know I'm talking too much, but
No.
it's like now I'm in the car and I'm like letting people go, or I just feel so, I'm just like, go ahead. Or if I'm at the grocery store, I'm just all patient. It's like you just get this patience and you just feel so calm and you feel so like connected to the people instead of that person being against you, you know, like that person's in front of me or that person's cutting me off. You're just kind of like, go ahead. I don't know. It is, I like that he said, I like you said
Christopheri
that
sanoi chatissa just, että se on mielenkiintoista, miten vähemmän se on stressaantunut, kun se ajaa autolla. Ja se ei koskaan ennen huomannut sitä, että se oli yhdistettynä kofeiiniin. Ja nyt se pystyy tuntemaan vähemmän stressiä, kun se on liikenteessä. Ja mä just sanoa, että se on huomannut saman, että kun sä lopetat kofeiin, niin sä yhtäkkiä sä pystyt olemaan rauhallinen. Totta kai tietenkin sen jälkeen, kun nämä vierotusoireet poistuu. Mutta mä haluan jakaa myös yhden jutun. Eli silloin, kun mä olin kofeiinismin uhri, niin mä en edes uskaltanut ajaa. Mä ajoin kortin joskus parikymppisenä, mutta mä olin todella pitkä, että mä en uskaltanut ajaa, koska mä pelkäsin ja mulla oli semmoisia kummallisia pakko-oireita, että mitä jos mä ajan jonkun lapsen yli tai jotakin. Mutta nyt mä ajan autoa pitkästä aikaa. So I wanted to also share one positive thing that when I was victim of the caffeineism, I couldn't drive because I have so much OCD and I have so much that fear. I did only drive very little time when I was young, when I did get my driving license. And after that, I just always avoided driving because I have this fear that what if I'm gonna crash somebody in the road. And now I am driving and so many other benefits, but for me it's huge. So people really it's huge stuff that you're gonna get rid of your fears caused by caffeine.
And did you ever think that it was because of the caffeine while you weren't driving? Did you ever think that's why?
No, I was just thinking that it's because of my OCD and really bad anxiety. En mä koskaan osannut sitä yhdistää kofeiiniin. Mä vaan ajattelin, että mulla tulee aina olemaan se pakko-oireinen häiriö ja aina niitä häiritseviä ajatuksia. Ja niin kuin terapeutit sanoo, että ei se ikinä parane, että sä voit kyllä käydä terapiassa. Ja niin kuin silloin, kun mä olin nuorempi, ne määräsi lääkkeitä ja näin, mutta kukaan ei koskaan sanonut mitään kofeiinista tai että se voisi täysin parantua. So nobody ever, when I was in the therapist or trying to figure out why the OCD is like it is. People always say that, yeah, it's something that you have to live with your rest of your life. You can maybe take medicines or learn some coping skills. But nobody did say that that's actually something that you can cure completely. So now I know.
I mean, that is everything. That is so huge.
And Tula says that citizen needs Tula says that our society needs citizens that are productive. Yes, niinpä. Kansalaisten pitää olla tehokkaita. So
yeah, I had terrible road rage. It was road rage. I would like flip people off, cuss at people, and now to feel that connection and to, you know, no one's meaning to be mean to them or mad. It's like caffeine makes you disconnected from yourself. It's like it makes you disconnected from other people. And then when you quit and you get the really bad anxiety, you're disconnected from yourself. And then you start to come back to yourself. And then you start to feel in love, for me anyway, with everybody, strangers. I just look at people walking down the street and I'm like, oh, person. So weird.
Niin, kofeiini so cool. Tavallaan aiheuttaa sitä semmoista etääntymistä itsestä ja muista, että ei enää mitä tuokin ajattelee, mitä tuokin tekee ja eikä enää oikeastaan usko itteensä eikä tykkää itsestään, mutta sitten kun sen aineen lopettaa, niin alkaakin huomata, että ihmisethän on ihan kivoja ja että ei ne häiritse sua. So it's like when you're caffeineism state, many people they don't really are so confident or love themselves or others. Of course, there's other stuff that can use that, but I and you have been noticing that now. It's like, okay, people are really cool actually. like people are not so annoying after all. So
yeah, and I think caffeine can make people an asshole, kind of. Like, even if your nature is to be kind and sweet, which I think mine is, I would still, if I felt threatened, I would turn into an asshole.
Eli vaikka sun eihän me olla kaikki mulkkuja persoonalta, eli tämmöinen kilttikin persoonallisuus, koetaan, että minä ja Mandy molemmat ollaan semmoisia empaattisia kilttejä, mutta sitten kun sä oot sen kofeiinismin vaikutuksen alasena, niin se kilttikin persoona niin helposti niinku raivostuu ja käy kierroksilla ja niinku triggeröityy, kun se ei välttämättä normaalitilassa edes tapahtu. So when like empathic person or kind person is state of caffeineism, of course it's gonna react the way that it's not so nice because of the poison, but otherwise it wouldn't do that. And even those people who are actual dick can maybe start to translate. Who knows? We have been showing some of those. Yeah. Maybe in
yeah, it's people. Like I would blow up. It's like I would blow up and not mean to be that way, and then I would downplay it or take it back and, oh, I'm sorry. And so I think when we become more recovered and more normal, we have those boundaries to where we don't have to blow up. We can just tell people we don't ever get to that point of blow up, because we're telling people how we feel before we blow up. We have our boundaries. We tell people, oh no, I don't like that, or, in a kind way or whatever. Everything just kind of balances out, I think. And I think that's
Me ei olla niin räjähdysherkkiä enää sitten, kun on lopetettu kofeiini ja päästy siihen rauhallisuuden tilaan, että sit niinku eikä tule niin helposti sitä reaktioa, että pystyy ehkä sanomaan, että hei, et tiedätkö, että mä en nyt tykkää tuosta, eikä niinku mulla aikaisemmin, että mä kävin aivan kierroksilla ja vielä sen jälkeenkin, ja se käytös oli jotain ihan käsittämätöntä, mitä mulla oli, tai eihän se käsittämätöntä nyt ole, kun ymmärtää. Mutta sitten ehkä jotkut ihmiset on sanonut myös nekin, että mä olin aikaisemmin ihan täys mulkku, mutta kun mä lopetin kofeiinia ja siitä meni pitkä aikaa, niin ne on jopa alkanut huomaa muutosta, että even some people who have said that I was total dick before and they have quit caffeine, and then the time goes by, they actually are starting to maybe realize that maybe they weren't like that after all. So how cool is that?
Yeah, if you're insecure and you feel like you don't have a backbone, sometimes you have to take up for yourself, and then you're more attack when you don't need to be that way. Everything, it just balances out. It's so, I can't
Everything will balance out. We have 7 viewers, 7 katsojaa, se on melkein
That's so cool.
Ennätys. I'm so happy. Kiitos kaikille, että olette täällä, ja kivaa, kun nyt on suomalaisia seuraajia. I'm so happy that I also have Finnish followers, and I'm finally have the courage to do videos in Finnish, ja että nyt mulla on rohkeutta tehdä suomeksikin myös livejä.
Very cool. Is everybody caffeine free, or are people wanting to quit too?
Eli Mandy kysyy, että onko kaikki niinku lopettanut kofeiinin, vai onko täällä myös semmoisia ihmisiä, jotka yrittää lopettaa, ja mä tiedänkin, että osa on. And I actually know that some are still in the process, and that's very, very good. Ja se on tosi hienoa. Että siis tää kanava on kaikille, että ei pelkästään semmoisia, jotka on jo lopettanut kofeiinin, että totta kai siinä itse prosessissa ja siinä vähentämisessä, and the tapering process also, this is really cool information to have.
I think
that's the safest way.
Very. We've talked about that before, how awesome that is that people are on caffeine that want to quit, because we didn't really, that was never a thing for us. We never even wanted to. I wanted to quit coffee just because of PMS, but I didn't know about caffeine. I was clueless about caffeine.
Niin Mandykin oli niinku lopettamassa niinku PMS-oireiden vuoksi kahvia, mutta ei se koskaan ymmärtänyt, että se oli kofeiini. Ja sitten me niinku päädyttiin sen burnoutin takia tälle matkalle, mutta se on tosi hienoa, että on ihmisiä, jotka on niinku huomannut sen ja pystyy niinku sitä kautta jo aikaisemmin, ennen kuin semmoista burnouttia tulee, niin vähentämään. Ja se on tosi iso juttu. So it's very huge thing that you have been noticing that you have been affected by caffeine, and now you can start slowly maybe taper or cold turkey. Some people, they can cold turkey without ending up this vicious anxiety. It's completely possible to quit cold turkey and not end up having what we did have. Maybe some months or weeks, 6 months, maybe 6 months, and you're fine. That's possible.
Yes. Kyllä
se on mahdollista tosiaan, että kaikilla ei sitten, että se on muutaman kuukauden tai viikon juttu. Tai sitten joillekin ei tule mitään vierotusoireita. Also there are people who don't have withdrawals at all.
Yes.
So, onko vielä kysymyksiä? Are any questions? This have been good. Now we have been 1 hour and 19 minutes, so I think this is very good length of the live.
Wow.
Yeah, so time goes fast. This is so, kun mä käännän tätä, niin tää aika menee nopeasti. When I translate this, the time goes really.
But have we established any reassurance that it really does get better? I want to make sure, because we're talking about how it affected us and how caffeine's awful or how we think it's awful. But I just want to make sure that we're giving the reassurance that it's anxiety, yes, but it does, you stay abstinent and it does slowly get better depending on who you are. It can be a long journey, short journey, but no matter what, I just want to make sure we're giving that reassurance. That's really sinking in.
Mä en halua nyt olla vielä varma siitä, että me annetaan oikeasti sitä vahvistusta, että se on todellakin se ahdistus ja se menee ajan kanssa ohi, että se on niinku näissä liveissä se tarkoitus ja se, miksi me ollaan, että niinku aina muistuttaa, että ahdistus ja nämä kaikki oireet, ne loppuu ajan kanssa. It will end with time.
Yeah. And even though we're saying that, just like Cato says in his videos, that's why you're going to keep rewatching his videos, because you're getting the reassurance, but yet the doubt, that's why we talked about that in the beginning. The anxiety causes the doubt. So no matter how much, even if you still have 1%, 2% of anxiety, it still might cause that little, you're functioning, you're living life, but you're still like, is even this 1% ever going to go away? It's like, it just antagonizes you the whole time until it's completely gone. But that's normal too. It causes the doubt. So just keep going, because that reassurance is today is getting you to tomorrow, and then it just eventually.
Eli niin kauan kun sulla on sitä ahdistusta, niin kauan se aiheuttaa sitä epäilystä. Ja vaikka sitä ahdistusta olisi enää tämän verran jäljellä, niin kuin teillekin, jotka olette vähän pitemmällä tätä matkaa, jos sitä ahdistusta vielä on ja niitä oireita, niin se niin kauan kun se ahdistus on siellä, niin niitä oireita myös tulee senkin takia. Ja sitä epäilystä, että paranenko mä ikinä, loppuuko tämä ikinä, meneekö tämä ikinä, tunnenko mä ikinä oloni normaaliksi. Se loppuu. Kun sä et käytä sitä huumetta tai mitä huumeita, niin sun keho parantaa itsensä. When we are not using anything mind-altering drugs in this journey, we just keep living, eating good food and drinking water, we will go back to. Joo, ja ne Katon videot, niin kuin Tuula onkin kattonut, eli Kato on niin kuin tehnyt näitä videoita, ne on englanniksi, ja ne on tosi hyviä, niin kuin siellä on paljon kans kommentteja, ja ihmiset on kommentoinut sinne, jotka on kofeiinivierottuja. Ja niissä niinku, no Katolla on oma tyyli. Cato have his own style about doing the videos. It's more about like the sharing the process after he did kind of heal and
just sharing. His whole thing is like just sharing the reassurance, or just saying it goes away. Like not really sharing certain things, but. And again, he was 3 years when he first started making his videos, and we're just now hit 3 years a little bit ago.
Eli Kato oli 3 vuotta, kun se alkoi tehdä niitä videoita. Ja
You've been sharing your whole journey.
mä oon jakanut koko paskan alusta asti. Ja en mä suosittele sitä välttämättä kellekään. Mutta mä halusin tehdä sen tällä tavalla. I did wanted to. And it was also therapy for me. Se oli myös mulle terapia tehdä se tällä tavalla. Yeah. When I started my channel, it also helped me to go through my days. Kun mä aloitin tämän kanavan, niin se niin kuin auttoi minua menemään päivien yli, ja mä tiesin, että tuolla on rapakon takana muitakin ihmisiä, jotka käytetään prosessia, ja Suomessa nyt ei ollut paljon sellainen niin kuin semmoisia ihmisiä, joilta mä olisin voinut, niin kuin, jotka olisi ollut vaikka samassa, niin kuin Mandy ja minä, että me oltiin, niin kuin, käytiin samoja juttuja samaan aikaan läpi. So, että jos sulla on joku kaveri tai kuka tahansa, joka käytetään samaa, niin se on hyvä, niin kuin jos pystyy saamaan, tai niinku semmoinen, joka voi ehkä auttaa. So if you have a body in this journey who have about maybe same timeline and who is like resonating with you, like you have the good connection, that can be really helpful. But if there is like two people drowning at the same time, so that can be really harmful for all the other hand. So keep that in mind. But having a buddy like I have you, it's been huge help. Thank you, Mandy, for that. Mandy on ollut ihan hurja apu minulle. Ihan hurjan kiitollinen olen Mandystä.
I know we're both so grateful.
Ollaan molemmat kiitollisia. Mutta jos noita katon videoita pystyy jotenkin, en mä tiedä pystyttekö kääntämään ne jotenkin, tai jos joku tulkkaa ne, if somebody can translate or about Kato's videos, that can be also helpful for Finnish people also.
Oh, that would be cool. Because yeah, I mean, what I was saying earlier, the doubt, like if you're getting all this reassurance and you know in your heart you're going to get there one day, and you're still like, why? But I'm getting all this reassurance. Why do I still have this doubt? Because that's the anxiety's job until it's gone, and it will go. It will go.
Yeah,
you have to stay completely free though. You can't go to any other drugs either. You can't drink. You can't. I mean, some people maybe drink and they're fine, but I just see it: smoking weed, smoking cigarettes, drinking a little bit of alcohol, taking pills. That's just not. I don't know. You just don't need it.
I will link to Kato's channel here in the chat. Mä linkkaan tämän katon kanavan tohon chattiin nyt. Niin tossa on nuo katon videot aiheesta, niin jos kiinnostaa, niin ne kannattaa tosiaan
Very good reassurance.
Se on tosi hyvää kannustusta ja vahvistusta siitä, että se ahdistus menee ohi. Ja se tosiaan kävi ihan tämän saman rallin läpi. Cato also went through what we have been going through. Also wanted to share that. So like we have been speaking, and he's speaking about his videos about this anxiety.
And he's 9 years. He's 9 years free now.
Niin, Kato on nyt 9 vuotta vapaa kofeiinista. Ja hän ei käyttänyt mitään muita huumeita koskaan. Ei mitään, joten tämäkin on niin mun mielestä hienoa, koska sitten niin monet tulee, että joo, mutta se voi olla, kun sä oot käyttänyt sitä ja tätä, kun sä oot nuorena käyttänyt bensoja. No ei, kyllä ihan pelkästään kofeiinista, eikä ne, että jos on nuorena jotakin bensoja käyttänyt, niin enää kuule 20 vuoden jälkeen varmaan vaikuta. There are many people like can then say that yeah, but you were in the other drugs or stuff and they are doubting, but Cato, he didn't use any other nothing, like just caffeine. Right. So that's a good reassurance.
So here's the thing too. I mean, yeah, he wasn't, but he never drank, never smoked, never did pills, nothing, smoked weed, nothing. But even if you did, it's just anxiety. Like even if you were on other stuff and that's how you fell off the mountain. Yeah, but yeah, people are like, so those are just the people that are going, no way, caffeine can do this. Yes, it can, but it doesn't matter. I mean, really deep down at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it was from caffeine or what it was from. Like for me, I drank, I smoked here and there, blah, blah, blah. I got anxiety. It was anxiety. I'm free from everything and I'm healing. So yeah. Okay, blame it on something else if you want, but caffeine can cause it all by itself.
Yes, kofeiini voi sen kaiken aiheuttaa itsessään, kun monet, niin, että se on tosiaan mahdollista. Ja so much stuff I don't know how to translate it quickly.
Sorry, I know, I just did a rant, like it's so passionate.
Pointtina just se, että se on se ahdistus on mistä tahansa se sitten aiheutui, tuliko se sulle pilvestä, pillereistä, alkoholista tai mistä sä tahansa oot paranemassa, niin, tai mistä tahansa addiktiosta, niin sä paranet. you will heal no matter what it did cause you the burnout when you quit, and
right.
And of course we can point out this and this is actually one thing that before we can go soon because we have been 1.5 hours almost, but like the benzo recoverers, those who are recovering from the benzos, we know that there is a lot of people, and that's very horrible. Those drugs can cause so much brain damage, but also one thing, it's interesting that many benzo people are still on caffeine. So we are just been wondering and talking and trying to figure out that, like, not trying to figure out, but just like rambling with this idea that caffeine being the drug that it is, I'm sure that it can still cause a lot of stuff in those people healing journey that are recovering from some other drug abuse.
Yeah. And about keto, he does talk about it in one of his videos that it's not just from caffeine either. Like the anxiety can come from all kinds of things. But if you're coming off of one drug like benzo and you are on something like caffeine or you're smoking cigarettes, I don't think you're probably going to be doing better, and your anxiety is probably going to go from panic to mild to moderate. But like to get to completely happy, and then that joy state, I just don't think my opinion, people are never going to truly get into that joy state if they're on something.
Niin, että jos sä vierottaudut vaikka bensoista tai alkoholista tai mistä tahansa muusta, ja sit sä kuitenkin käytät kofeiinia, niin joo, kyllä se varmaan niin kuin jollain tasolla voit siitä parantua, mutta et välttämättä ikinä siihen todelliseen niin kuin ilon, niin kuin semmoisen onnellisuuden, vapauden tilaan, koska silti se kuitenkin koko ajan käytät jotakin, joka vaikuttaa keskushermostoon ja aivoihin, so you are still using all the time something that affects your central nervous system and your brain. So we just wanted to, me vaan haluttiin tämä pointtikin tuoda. We just wanted to point this out also.
Right, yeah.
But thank you all. Kiitos kaikki. I'm very happy to have you, Mandy, and I think that today's conversation was really cool. We did open up the same things that we have been already talk about, but I think people just sometimes need to hear this.
We can talk about it every day.
Niin, mä uskon, että toivottavasti te saitte nyt tästä tukea siihen omalle matkalle, että ei ole mitään hätää, kaikki oireet paranee, ja on kiitollinen Mandylle, ja taas me tehdään näitä videoita jatkossa myös. Ja pistä peukkua, jos sä tykkäät myös tästä suomenkielisestä käännöksestä, vaikka se mulla vähän ontuu. Put thumbs up if you like this Finnish English translator and put some comments. Kommenttia voi myös pistää, niin se aina motivoi meitä tekemään uusia videoita. When I get comments, even one comment, it motivates me hugely to do more videos. I'm thriving by the comments. I'm not person who thrives by a lot of things, but I thrive by when people get better. That drives me, and also when I hear the comments. Että kommentteja ja tarinoita, niin se motivoi.
Very cool. Yeah.
So I wish you all very nice evening, and probably I'm still doing some lives before the Christmas, so I don't say Merry Christmas yet. It's still time.
Yep.
And thank you, Mandy.
Oh, yeah.
And
thank you.
See you
Thank
all.
you, Annie, and thank you, everyone. Stay free.
Stay free. Pysykää irti kofeiinista.